Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Larry Wallace Jr., and I'm here with Real Talk. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but we're coming up to elections, and we have some great candidates out there running for office. And I figured, what better way to come back with a Real Talks episode? And if you've attended these before, again, it's no script. A lot of it is about just asking questions, learning about the person, and getting their actual responses real time. As an elected official, we know too many times we have branded messages or we have written out responses, but when that person's in the seat and you have people having mics in their face and so forth, we really need to know how they think and how they act and how they operate. That's the best way for us to be able to pick the type of individuals that need to represent us and support our communities in these seats. And with us here have Tanisa Jeffers. She's running for office, County Court number 5. And before I hand the mic over and let you do some introductions, I want to show real quick a little summary regarding what you're doing here.
Hi, it's Tanisa Jeffers. Vote for me as your next judge of County Court at Law number 5. I'm an award-winning local attorney who has been practicing for 22 years on both the family law and criminal law sides in all felony and misdemeanors, with an emphasis on representing those with a mental illness and substance abuse disorders. As judge, I will preside at Opportunity Court. You have the opportunity to get back on track. Vote for me. Early voting starts February 14th and the primary is March 1st.
All right. So, the nice little PSA out there talking
Thank you.
about what you're trying to do and why you want to do it. So, please, just give us a little bit of information about yourself. I'm dropping right here where people can be able to go to your official campaign website and learn more information about you and what you're striving to do. And I'll put up a photo later that has a lot of your action points and things that you're talking about. But Ms. Jeffers, go ahead.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Wallace. I am proud to be here. Yes, I'm Tanisa Jeffers. I've been an attorney here locally for 22 years, and I'm now seeking election to County Court at Law number 5. I'm a first-generation college student for parents, neither of whom had the opportunity to attend college or even graduate high school. But my dad always said that if he had had that opportunity, he would have been an attorney. So I am very proud to have lived his dream, and I hope to become your next judge of County Court at Law number 5.
Sounds good. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So tell me a little bit about yourself. We have, here some photos here. What is this photo? Getting sworn in. When is this? What is this for? I mean, you have an extensive career, and too often when you're going from one kind of group or organization, only give you 60 seconds, 3 minutes to kind of tell your life story and why you got in this space and then why you want to become an elected official.
Sure. Well, I had spent a lot of time representing the mentally ill here locally, and was approached about possibly joining our Austin Municipal Court. So I was humbled and proud to have been appointed by our Austin City Council in 2018 as an associate judge of our Austin Municipal and Magistration Courts. Much of that is part-time, overnights and weekends. So I started at the bottom up, so to speak, in our judicial system locally, trying to learn how it is we do things here so that I could make some real change later. And so there are several initiatives that I hope we get to talk about later that I hope to institute. But in any event, the pandemic hit in 2020. And so my part-time gig quickly became more than part-time because we have 16 judges that sit on the municipal and magistration court, but more than 80% of them are over the age of 62. And so they were directly related by the pandemic.
Okay.
So myself and about 6 or 7 others were largely charged with the duty of keeping our magistration court open and running because it is a 24-hour operation here in Travis County.
Okay.
And they applauded my commitment. And just recently, the Austin City Council in December named me as your full-time overnight magistration judge, presiding in night court, if you will. That's how some people view it.
Right.
And so I've been doing that as well full-time now. Getting used to the nighttime work has been interesting, but there's never a dull moment here in Travis County, and I look forward to continuing to keeping the citizens of Travis County safe.
Okay. I think that's kind of interesting what you're saying is you're working the night shift, right? And I think oftentimes individuals, we just don't know exactly what your job entails, right? And sometimes we're thinking that you might have that traditional 9 to 5 and so forth, and then now you want to become like the elected official and get paid and all these different things. And so the question here is, so what are the hours that you're kind of working now doing this, and I guess what drives you to work those late hours in defense of the people?
Sorry, there's another radio show. They're like, whenever you're ready. And I'm like, I'm already in one.
Well,
um,
it's good to have people trying to get you, right? That's what matters.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. No, yeah. So night court is overnight where we are seeing citizens as they come in through different law enforcement and making sure that we also support law enforcement in
Hmm.
any probable cause affidavits that they have pending that they need signed. That's what the judge is responsible for doing, and
Right.
also making sure that our citizens know their rights at that time.
Got
Prior
it.
to that, as far as the schedule, my defense attorney work meant that I was going to court in the daytime as well. And then in the past year of the pandemic, I spent a year as your hearing officer for the Office of Attorney General Crime Victims Compensation
Okay.
Program,
Okay.
where because as we know, violent crime greatly increased during the pandemic. So I was proud to serve in that role as well.
Okay. And I'm just pulling up right here, part of your attorney profile again, which is very extensive. It's talking about, as you just listed here, your time as a hearing officer, and then even over as an assistant judge for the Austin City Council before you moved into the position that you're in right now. So let's talk a little bit more about why you're running for court five. Is there anything in particular about this court that interests you, or that you see that need that you and only you can fulfill?
Well, County Court 5 is our original mental health court. George Hohengarten is retiring after more than 20 years presiding. She laid an excellent foundation for our county on ways to treat those with a mental illness that find themselves in the criminal justice system. And so now I want to continue that awesome foundation
Mm,
that she's already laid. I joined the mental health wheel all the way back in 2006 on the felony side and in 2008 on the misdemeanor side.
okay.
So I'm running for a court that I spent a lot of time in. I basically represented folks in that court every Tuesday and Thursday morning and
Hmm.
Friday afternoon for more than 15 years. So, and the other thing I'll say is I feel proud to seek election in this court because this court's original judge was Judge Wilfred Aguilar. And I may be dating myself a little bit, but I was also proud to have been able to practice in front of him. And Judge Aguilar was our first judge that was very vocal about the
Hmm.
fact that he struggled with a mental illness. He had bipolar disorder.
Hmm.
He also struggled with alcohol abuse. And so he was the first judge to really point out that we didn't have treatment alternatives for those with mental illness. And so
Got it.
it's very appropriate that our original mental health court be housed in this court.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your family, right? I mean, it's all about how you were brought up, your family, the people you're around. I mean, those all have influences on how you make decisions at the bench in your involvement in community. So tell us a little bit about this collage of family members and loved ones here.
Yes, I have three children, and man, they get big fast when you are watching them grow. So right now, they are my baby giant. Taylor is 17 years old, and she's a high school senior. My son, who's in the middle is 19 years old. He's a sophomore at UVA, majoring in finance, headed to a investment banking internship with Credit Suisse this summer in June.
Hmm.
So we're excited for him. And then my oldest child, Jordan, is just turned 21. She's a senior at Loyola University in New Orleans. She plays volleyball for them. She's also and I have to proud mama moment. Uh, they just won the Southern States Athletic Conference regional championships for the first time in program history this past November. And program history is like 30 years. So it's really
Right.
exciting
Right.
for us. We were proud
Okay.
to support her on the road in that endeavor. But she's a senior in criminology and is my only child who thinks she may want to go to law school. She's interning currently with the Department of Homeland Security. So I'm proud of my
Okay.
kids. They are
Okay.
the only thing in my life that I have done exactly right, absolutely right, 100%. So
Right.
I am so happy to support them and watch them reach for the stars and do their own.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I'll tell you, I'm gonna highlight this photo right here where you shows you putting in work down here at the bottom right in the white jacket in the blue, right? So what is this and where is this?
Well, that is our Jack and Jill Regional Team Conference. That particular photo is in Houston. I served as the South Central Region nominating chair, representing Texas, Louisiana, and New Mexico for a 3 year stint. Actually, I was about to say two, but it's actually 3 years.
Okay.
And so we are running the election down there. Our teams, we introduce them to philanthropic service and also to
Mhm.
the political world, teaching them how to get involved in their local communities and how to make sure that they are a voice wherever they are.
Okay. Sounds good. And so this next photo I'm about to show, tell me a little bit about this because I lived this myself as being mayor, even trying to run for Congress, and I've seen this. A lot of families have experienced this with COVID. This photo right here, putting in work with your kids.
Yes, that is my 21-year-old Jordan when she was less than one. I was a practicing attorney, of course, and lots of trying to handle multiple cases and be a working mom, which is always difficult, but the greatest joy of my career. This is her trying to get me out the phone. You see, she's got that phone cord grasping her hand, like, "Hey, you pay attention to me." But that is at my office, which has been at 1203 Baylor Street for the past 24 years.
Okay, okay, no, good stuff. And so, getting back to your attorney profile here, tell me, certified mediator says here practices with family and criminal law, which you've already mentioned, and how that connects to this court five, which you already said, right? With most of the cases that come there, but with the emphasis in the mental health and MR, I'm not sure what the MR condition is, but can just tell me why is this key? I mean, you have this listed as well on your resume. You highlight this on your website. Why is this key to you and vital regarding this position that you're running for?
Sure. I had almost an immediate interest in representing the mentally ill just because of the way I grew up. We had some folks in my family that struggle with the condition. But of course, when you're a child, you really don't know what's happening. And in the African American community, Black and Brown communities, we don't do a lot to talk about our struggles with mental
Hmm.
illness. So I had almost an immediate interest in representing those with a mental illness. It just so happens that I was lucky enough to attend the University of Texas at Austin. So I stayed here after law school. And at the same time that I am developing my interest,
Hmm.
Travis County is also looking to do a better job at those that are coming before them. The
Hmm.
deinstitutionalization of our mental health facilities in the late 80s, of course, has led to our jails becoming our de facto mental health providers.
Okay.
But luckily, Travis County saw that need
Right.
long ago, became a model court for representing those with a mental illness. This very court, Court 5, under Judge Horngarden's leadership. And so that is something that I am really proud of and glad that we talk about, that we focus on, and we try to get people stable and back on track.
Hmm.
If we do
Okay.
that, if we begin to treat the underlying issue bringing folks within the criminal justice system in the first place, be it poverty, undiagnosed mental illness, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, if we can treat the underlying issue, we find that we greatly reduce the revolving door of that is inherent in the criminal justice system, and thereby greatly reducing recidivism. And I'm proud
Okay.
to aid in that work.
Right. And I think that's key what you said there because I'm about to pull up this next attorney profile. So what you're talking about trying to make that change, how has this experience enabled you to be able to be effective in that area if you are elected into court five?
Well, I bring my lived experience as an African American woman living here in the South, practicing attorney who could bring perspective as an
Hmm.
African American judge currently. I've now been in a role as a judge for 4 years now, to the next highest level court above the municipal court, which is our county courts at law.
Right.
So I get to bring that experience forward, and where we also provided wraparound case management services and trauma therapy as your Travis County Drug Court defense attorney.
Hmm.
I was also
Hmm.
appointed there for 4 years. So I get to bring both of those experiences to a court that had a mental health focus for many, many years.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. You know, definitely spoke a lot about your profile. We talked about your history, upbringing, and so forth. And I know for me, as we've had conversations, and I talked to other candidates. For me, it's always not necessarily just the experiences you have going in, which are very impactful and determine how you make certain decisions and how you'll assess certain cases, but also your impact outside of the bench, right? And so speak to the people when it comes to what with this new position of influence, authority, ability to have impact. Do you foresee or want to try to do in the community as elected county court judge, right?
Absolutely.
And it said it's more to me. It's always, and especially for most community members, it's more than just completing the docket. What other impacts do you see yourself wanting to try to do?
Well, serving in our magistration court these past 4 years, and definitely in the past 2 years in the pandemic, the rates of substance abuse have greatly increased. We see the rates of alcohol abuse have greatly increased. People have not fared well in the pandemic. And
Hmm.
so there have been plenty of stressors that we have to make sure that we bring some light to. So if I were elected to Court 5, one of the first things I want to do is create a drug diversion court at the misdemeanor level. We don't currently have one. And I would also want to start a gun violence prevention program. Especially after permitless carry,
Right.
that law that went into effect this past September, we see so many people that are being arrested for carrying a weapon, and that's a class A misdemeanor. They don't Most folks don't realize that's just a misdemeanor, but we have to be able to, and there are a lot of young people
Hmm.
with these
Hmm.
guns. So we have to be able to educate our citizenry about the proper use of guns, ammunition, firearms, so that they know the law. A lot of these young people that I'm seeing that are being arrested don't realize that if the gun is not in a holster, that's a criminal offense. They don't realize that if they have the gun in the car and they're also in the commission of another offense, something as similar as just having, a blunt of marijuana in the car
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
makes it a criminal offense. So I think if we can educate the public about that while at the same time educating them about sensible gun ownership and educating them on the proper
Right.
use of that gun,
Right.
we're going to
Right.
make our community safer. And that's really important to me as well. I have three
Okay.
teenagers that are here. I worry about them when I'm setting conditions on bonds. They are who I'm thinking about.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about your campaign. I know you're out there speaking. There's a photo right here out you getting it in as I usually want to say. Right. Got another photo that you're out here talking to different groups. So, what are some of the next events you have coming up? If individuals want to come out, meet you personally, ask you questions themselves, without a third party person involved, do you have anything on the horizon?
Yeah, well, we are block walking this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. I'll be at the Habla y Vota event on Saturday afternoon at noon. Early voting starts next Monday, February 14th. Show your love for our democratic process by coming on out. And so I'll be at different locations, at different poll greeting locations as well, meeting voters, making sure they've heard that I am on the ballot. And I'm excited to continue campaign season all the way up till March 1st, primary day.
Okay, sounds good. And so, next slide coming up for you is going to be kind of our summarizing and closing out. Again, I appreciate you taking the time out to be with me and just to,
Absolutely.
as I said, too often as you're out there, you're trying to campaign, you're only given that 1 minute, 3 minutes to try to really relay who you are and what you're about, and why people should take what you're saying and be able to assess if you really mean it or if you're just kind of giving fluff, right? And too often we get the wrong people in office because we are basically going off of the small little snippets of what we hear. And if they're able to give you some type of hashtag or sound bite, we sometimes unfortunately get the wrong person in office that's not really the one that has the experience or ends up being the one that really has that passion to as I would say, be impactful beyond the seat where they make decisions at. And so, with that, before we go on to close, any last remarks that you may have?
Yeah, no, I consider any courtroom where I preside opportunity court. I really strongly believe in it. Here's our opportunity to get a citizen back on track, whatever that may be. Something as simple as not having a license for years because it's been suspended. I was just talking to a gentleman last night. Well, let us get you the occupational license paperwork while we're here, so that you leave with it, you can fill it out, and hopefully obtain an occupational license so that you're at least street legal going forward, right? You can at least make it to
Mm-hmm.
work, pick your kids up from school, and not have to risk being arrested. So I look at any court that I preside in as opportunity court. We are going to do what we can to help you. This may be one of your lowest moments, but it doesn't have to be the end of it. The
Right.
collateral consequences for criminal convictions is so high sometimes, lack of housing, lack of the ability to obtain a job because now you're establishing a criminal record that employers are looking at. Sometimes even the lack of ability to take care of your children in that sense. So I want to make sure we get people back on track. That is really, really important to me. We don't have to throw the book at folks. We don't have to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just offer jail as an alternative. We have to offer diversionary programs that make sure we are focusing on the underlying issue, bringing a person in front of us. So, and I'm happy to lead that effort.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and I appreciate everybody else that tuned in, and those that will probably be viewing this later as well. And then I leave this last slide up as some information about your campaign.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Wallace.
You too. Thank you.